guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Headfa, and today we will be learning how to make this beautiful Aso-oke lily headband. It's quite a simple project. If you can just follow the steps, you should be able to get yours done very easily. Now for this project, we'll be needing some materials, which includes the Alice band. I'm using this one as shown here. We will need your tape measure. For measurement, we need a lighter to burn some edges, and you need, of course, a pair of scissors. For cutting, you need the fishing line. I'm trying to show us the dimension for this particular one, the size 0.3 mm, and you need your needle. I've already threaded mine for this project. Also, you will need some trimmings to cover to accessorize our headband. As you can see, how I used it for the first one I made. I'm actually making this project for a client's niece, and we're using leftover Aso-oke from the one I used to make a headband for her. So we just have them in pieces, so I'm trying to make do with what is available, because I'm making two. I made one already, I'm making the second one. So this one I'm making is for a 5-year-old, and the first one I made is for a 9-year-old. So for this 5-year-old, we would be using the dimensions of the lilies that we made. But the first thing we'll be doing is to cover our Alice band with Aso-oke. As you can see, I'm measuring round the band. So when you measure, whatever value you get, you add at least 1.5 inch allowance, so that when you fold the edge in, as you will see later in the video, it will be enough for us. So you see I have about 16 inches and I measured 14.5 from my Alice band. So just follow the process, just watch what I'm doing, and you should be able to do yours very easily. And I'm using this method to cover my Alice band because, like I mentioned earlier, we have limited Aso-oke. Usually there are different methods for covering the band. Anyway, there's a different method I will show you in a separate video if you have sufficient fabric to go around. So for this particular method, we are limited by the Aso-oke I have, so I'm using this method, which is not so bad. So you can try this method if you prefer this. So first thing I'm going to do is to trim out the bottom part of the Aso-oke. As you can see, the bottom part of the Alice band is not as wide as the mid section, so we have to taper the ends so that when folding we don't have excess on that end. So after I do that, what I'm going to do next is to apply my glue gun on the first side of the Alice band that I'll be covering. So I'm doing that, and I'm going to just repeat that process all through the end of the side I'm working on, after which I will cover the other end. So you can just do the same thing I'm doing right now. It's super easy and you should be able to get yours done too. And I think this part is quite beginner friendly. So the design might look complicated, but I think this is actually the video is actually more detailed, very detailed for someone that is even a beginner in crafting. So I had to speed up this part so that the video doesn't become too long. It's even as it is, I sped up some parts and it was still way longer than I wanted. But of course, I cannot really speed up everything, because I really want you guys to get the understanding of what we're doing, so you can also create yours. So when I get to this end, I bond the tip to prevent it from fraying. Then I would be doing that to both sides. I would then apply the glue to close that end. Then I'll do the same thing to the other side. So, and with this, our Alice band is covered and ready. You don't have to worry about those glue stains on the inside. That edge, the joining part, we'll be covering with the lace trimming later when we are done attaching the design. So your Alice band is ready, and we'll be going to start making the lilies next. So to make the lilies, some people call it trumpets, whatever you choose to call it. So for this one that I made before, the bigger ones are 6 by 6, and the smaller ones I think by 4 by 4, and one is 3 by 3. So because this one is for a 5-year-old, the one I'm making now, the sizes will be a bit smaller. So for the first one I made, what I mean is I just did a triangle like this and just cut like that to make the biggest flute or lily. But for this one, I would be measuring 5 inches. My biggest lily will be 5 inches. So I'll be making 2 of that. That's the 5 by 5. I'll be making 2. Then the 4 by 4, I'll be making 2 inches. Then I'll be needing one 3 by 3, even though I cut 2 in this video. So I'll just show us how I cut my materials. Yeah. So we'll be cutting 2 of that. This one is 5 by 5. I think the width of this Aso-oke is I think 6 by 6.5, 6.25 thereabouts, or 6 inches wide. If you don't want the edges fraying like you can see in this video, you can choose to burn them. And I think I've seen some people cut theirs with soldering. Is it soldering iron now? I don't know. You can cut with that. It will just seal up the edges. So I've cut out the 4x4 and this is the 3x3. I actually cut out 2 for this. I think I need just 1 of this because I'm making 5 of the lilies. So going to the process of making the lily now. Just watch carefully and follow it step by step. It is very, very easy to make, very easy. So you first of all fold the fabric by the edge and on one corner and just apply glue, then fold it like that. So after doing that, you go to another edge and do the same thing. You apply your glue and press down. Press it down so the glue sticks. Then after doing that, you fold the Aso-oke or whatever fabric you're using diagonally like this. So after folding, you take the edge that is still raw and you tuck it into the part that you folded and glued down. Can you see? You tuck it in like that. So you apply glue on one side of the folded part. You apply glue on that part. Then you tuck the other side that has the raw edge, you tuck it in. Be careful when working with hot glue. It can be very hot. If you notice, I'm just trying to be careful with my hands while handling it. So once you do that, you apply glue on the other folded part so that you just press everything together and it sticks. So you stick it down, press it, make sure it sticks because hot glue is actually faster. Some people prefer to use UHU for this process. Whichever kind of glue you prefer, as long as it holds it steady and is neat. Can you see? So that's just the simple method of making your lily. Very simple. So now I've made all the 5 lilies I need for this particular design, and I'll go ahead to show you how I arranged them to form the design on the headpiece. So now I'm going to attach the biggest ones together. If you notice, they are not on the same level. One is higher than the other. That's the way I choose to arrange them. Now you can choose to arrange yours in a different way, but for this design I'm trying to achieve, that is what I chose to do. So after doing that, you take the smaller one of the 4x4s, you attach it to the back of the 2 bigger ones. I'm trying to still follow the same arrangement I used for the first headband. So that's the design. So when you arrange it like that, you apply your glue. You apply your glue and hold it steady till it sticks. One thing you should note while working with this, try to avoid stains as much as possible. and try to avoid your glue showing at the on the body of the fabric. It won't look neat. So as much as possible, minimize stains. So basically this part, we are just arranging the lilies to form the design that we want to achieve. So this is my own arrangement. Yours can be different depending on what you want. So once I arrange it to my desired shape, then the next thing will be to attach it to the Alice band. So now I've gotten what I want. Now I can go ahead and attach all of these to the band that we covered earlier. So this is the placement I'll be using to attach it to the band. So before I attach, I will be measuring where I want my band to start from, where I want my design to start from, sorry. So for this design, this band, I measured 2.5 from the bottom of the Alice band. So I will start attaching from there. I'll be using my fishing line and needle to do this. So I'm working from the bottom to the top of the design. So first I tie the knots, then I stuck my needle into the Aso-oke that we used to cover the band. So most of the sewing we will be doing will be done on the Aso-oke. And your sewing has to be very neat so that nobody can even tell that this thing was sewed. No stitches sewing, nothing whatsoever. So you have to be very careful and make sure your work is very, very neat. So just work your way up from bottom to top. Just watch what I'm doing. I'm working left, right, left, right, left, right, then up. So there's no fishing line going under the Alice band. It's just going through the Aso-oke that was attached to it, then through the design, the lily design we have on top of it, like that, till we get to the end of the design of the lilies. So do that continuously. So by the time we are done sewing, this is what we have. So I already cut out my needle. I will just tie some knots to secure the fishing line. I like to do more than 3 to 4 knots to just make it secure. So cut out the excess fishing line, and the next thing we will be doing is to attach our trimmings and cover the inside of the band. So this is the trimming I'll be using, this champagne gold trimming. So I'll be attaching it using my glue. So if you notice, I didn't do the underside of the trimming yet. I would cover the Alice band with the trim first before I cover the underside. So this is the trimming I'll be using to cover the joining we made for the band, just like this one, so it looks neat and unique. So I'll first fold the edge, the raw edge, fold it in so it doesn't start fraying. So after folding that, I can go ahead and start gluing it onto the headband. So if you notice, I didn't start from the bottom of the Alice band, from the edge. If you notice, why? Because I didn't want that place to be too bulky, plus we already had a fold there. So if I add something else to it, it will become too bulky and can cause pain at the back of the ear. So that's why I moved it up a bit. So just continue all the way down. Then when I get to the edge of the other side, I will fold it again before gluing it down so it doesn't start fraying. So after covering this with the trimming, I can now glue the other trimming back on. Like that. So I have this small rhinestone that I just attached to the middle to make it more beautiful. So with this, we have come to the end of this tutorial. See how simple it is. If you try this out, do let me know. And if you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also invite your friends to subscribe too, because I intend to always post helpful videos like these. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.